So the biggest misconception that people have about CIA officers is that we are somehow super smart. We're not. I mean, we are trained, we are disciplined, we are structured, but we are not super smart. When you have enough structure and discipline, you can get away with a whole hell of a lot more than just by being smart. Any smart person out there knows the problem with being smart is that you're easily distracted, because if something isn't good enough to keep your current attention, you will move on to the next thing. For that reason, CIA hires people that we joke are too dumb to quit. Meaning, you bring in somebody, you teach them a structure, you teach them a framework, and you teach them that all they have to do is this simple structure and this simple framework over and over again, and they will have success. Well, guess what that does to a not so smart person? It gives us exactly what we need to have high confidence in our success. So then we just do it over and over and over again, and that's how we have success.
Awesome. Okay, so now in the last few minutes, if you indulge me a few more minutes of time, it's just so fascinating and fun. Can't resist. It's how often do I get this chance? So I've got a lot of questions from my audience, and I'd like to ask. And you can get in touch with Andrew at his on Twitter. He's everydayspy. He's got a YouTube channel, everyday-spy, and we'll put all the links down below. So first question came from Gonzalo Chavez, who says, on Beyond Skinwalker Ranch, they've analyzed Chris Bledsoe's brainwaves as orbs were being manifested. Have you, Andy, ever considered reproducing that study in Mexico with an individual named Juanito Juan? He not only manifests orbs, he also has flying saucers appearing at times.
So here's what I'll say about Chris Bledsoe. Okay. First of all, Chris Bledsoe is one of the kindest, gentlest, most authentic human beings I have ever met. The fact that in addition to his kindness and generosity, he also has a measurable connection with a phenomenon is just incredible. But what we don't know is what that phenomenon is. Now, when I agreed to participate with Skinwalker Ranch in the study of Chris Bledsoe, my interest was not in finding connections to aliens or life forms or what Chris considers some of these orbs to be, which are almost celestial, right? Almost like angelic in nature. What was interesting to me is this man a type of canary in the coal mine that can give us advanced warning of a threat? And by all measurable data, the answer is yes. Whether it is a secret spy satellite or a foreign drone or a UFO, Chris Bledsoe can somehow see it happen before it arrives, and we can measure that with an EEG. That is a person to me who is of great interest, not just to the scientific community, but to the military-industrial complex.
Yeah. And of course, a lot of these things could be legitimate. I've had on Ryan Graves, a F-18 pilot, who is working now to have encounters declassified to destigmatize possible near miss encounters, which according to him are always accident. Basically, we call it a near miss, but it's effectively equivalent to an accident as far as the government is concerned. And so, at worst, he'll be able to protect pilots, airlines, civil aviation, et cetera. And at best, quote unquote, from my perspective as an alien adjacent hunter, it would be it's incredible to learn more about those phenomena. Okay, John Anderson asks, the spy history book from 2021, Sleeper Agent, tells the story of George Koval, an American-born Soviet spy who infiltrated the Manhattan Project, the top-secret program to develop the atomic weapon. So he's recommending that book, but it gives me a chance to ask you about what kinds of vulnerabilities. You're not in the CIA anymore. What would you be telling, who's the director now? I always forget.
I lost it. Yeah, Brennan.
But
no, it's not Brennan.
No, he was.
He was Brennan.
We'll look at
Burns. Director Burns.
Yeah. So, Director Burns, you have his ear for 30 minutes. What kinds of things would you be saying? Like, look out for that guy, Brian Keating. What would you be telling him? What are the kind of vectors that, provide a surface area for attack in our modern, incredibly highly technological age? Is it, plant someone at OpenAI, or what would you do?
If I had 30 minutes with Director Burns, I would spend the entire time just telling him that he needs to refocus the CIA, because CIA has been used now over the last 4-ish years for things that it's not supposed to do, right? As an example, CIA is the lead negotiator with the United States between Hamas and Israel. Why is Director Burns the lead negotiator? He is not a diplomat. He's a career intelligence officer. Right. That's not what CIA needs to be doing.
Elected to do that, right?
Right. CIA needs to be focused on creating the kind of assets and agents that can keep us at the forefront of what's known as American primacy, or American dominance in the fight, in the war, in the information conflict of the world. Instead, we're focused on woke culture and fitting into bureaucratic standards. Like if there's one institution where equal opportunity and woke culture and diversity,
right.
where these things should not be forced, it's CIA. Because CIA has always been inherently diverse. It's been diverse before diverse was a thing, right? It's been accepting lesbians and homosexuals and gays and transgender.
Because they're useful.
They're useful, exactly.
Like you are useful, right?
Long before it was mandatory or cultural, they've already been doing it. But now what ends up happening is, because CIA is a government agency, and a government agency has to be a tool of the administration, and the administration wants to demonstrate its administrative successes to its electoral base, right? Now you see rainbow advertisements coming out looking for CIA officers. We don't need to hire gay people at CIA. We need to hire effective people at CIA. It's even better if the effective person is also gay. It's not the other way around. So Director Burns has found himself in an unenviable position where he's the director of an organization that's being manhandled by an administration coming off of a previous administration that didn't trust CIA at all. So it's been like 6 or 7 years for CIA.
Here's a salty one, okay? How can we hear anything? This is from Sir Philosopher. How can we hear anything he says without a salt mine to go with it? There's no such thing as a former CIA officer.
There is no such thing as a former CIA officer. I mean, that is the honest to God truth. Here's the thing. CIA doesn't pay my bill anymore. They don't pay me a paycheck. They don't give me health insurance. They don't protect my life. They don't protect my family. They don't promise me anything. But if I got called tomorrow to do something to help CIA, I would say yes. That's why there's no such thing as a former CIA officer. And here's the no kidding truth, right? Anybody who has a problem understanding that my loyalty is first and foremost to my country, and that my loyalty is first and foremost among all agencies to the Central Intelligence Agency, can go to hell, because they've never had a cause so worthy. They've never had a loyalty so true to something they believed in so much that their only option is to criticize me.
Right.
I don't care.
They're the Iron Rice.
They're the ones that are lacking. Yeah. They're the ones that are missing. It's not me. So absolutely, there's no such thing as a former CIA officer. Even the CIA officers who leave CIA and write books shaming and damning and criticizing the CIA, guess what would happen if they got a call today from Director Burns?
They would do it.
They would say, yes, sir, you tell me what you need me to do to protect my mother, my children, my spouse, my country. There's nothing we wouldn't do, right? And that is the nature of how they hire us and how they train us. So we are fairly unapologetic to all the naysayers out there. If anything, naysayers, keep commenting on how you think we're fake, because your comments create activity on YouTube and on social media that make more people find us who agree with us.
That's right.
So I love anybody out there who wants to be a critic.
The ultimate for the algorithm. Yeah, I got a couple of those. Once a spook, always a spook from somebody else.
Yep.
Is that a derogatory term?
So here's what's hilarious, right? People use the term spook like it's derogatory. They don't know that inside CIA, inside the intelligence community, spook is like the top premier thing that you can call each other.
So it's not like a pig.
Not at all.
Cops don't call each other pigs.
No, like when we talk to DGSE, or when we talk to MI6, or when MI6 talks to Mossad, or when we talk to, the BND in Germany, we're always like, oh, that dude's a real spook. Like, that dude is a ghost.
It's a term of
you don't even know where they're at. You don't know where they've been. They do amazing things. But then you get out and they're like, spook this and spook that. And you're like, oh, wow, I didn't know I was good enough to be determined as a spook.
So fresh on me. Freedom.